Good evening for Enterprise fans. Welcome to the Friday Night Community Race. We are doing the Lunar Racing Club tonight, and I am joined in the booth here with Cheap Launcher, our tracker, NG Dave, our restreamer, and Deathlike, who's with me in the comms booth. How are you doing tonight, Deathlike?
I'm just ready for a tough race because I'm excited when a tougher flag set shows up, especially in tonight's spicy flag that is enabled as a K unsafe, where the standard rule that you have the you have to go to the underground, then have underground to the moon. Well, this seed, not so much. We might actually go directly to the moon and panic because moon is not haunted, no, in no way, shape, or form. It might be the first place you might have to go.
Yeah, so on this flag set, we've got two objectives that follow us all the time, which is complete the Ribbon Room, complete the Masamune Altar down at the depths of the moon. And we have two random ones, which tonight looks like are defeat the Baron Guards and burn the village mist with the package. So, those could be very spicy depending on where those things are located.
Yeah, I usually don't worry about that. I mean, the boss hunt is going to be interesting. I mean, D-Mist might contain something, as that is also that's also something. But the other thing that you'll have to contend with is actually equipment. So any untrapped chests, they're all gonna be converted to money. So however valuable that thing might have been, it's only money. So and that on top of, I think it's also T Pro. It's all money.
The treasure setting is on Pro. It looks like it's also on Junk.
Yeah, so it's
the thing is
funny.
actually
the
shops are only selling cabins tonight.
Oh, that's could be worse. I mean, yeah,
cabins are free. I mean, that's something for you at least.
I mean, yeah, you buy your stack of cabins and you'll never worry about buying. But that's the least of your problems. I think T Pro is actually can actually be kind of disappointing. I think you want some high value spots though. I mean, you still have so Castle Evelyn's still top notch. You might still want to do Waterway, but if you're doing like regular looting like in Baron, you're gonna expect you'd be disappointed easily.
We've got a starting Palom tonight, getting paired up with a Porum, so twin casting is online. And we have a Party Rock, Earth Crystal to start off with.
I'm liking this because first of all, this is like the other power couple, but it's the twins. They're when you have twins, twin magic allows you to not use Palom in the standard way, at least for the first couple levels, and you can double dip by casting some level 2 elemental plus get Porum to set the twin command to do some extra damage. So that's actually a very powerful start, given that this flag set you'll need all that power.
Yeah, I mean, this helps overcome our equipment disadvantage to start off with, because twin is fairly powerful in the early game. And the Party Rock may be splitting this treasury to help out, and I see that Possum is going to raid it right away, along with Soapbox Game.
Able to stumble down to the Baron Guards, the first thing. Everyone else is somewhere in the vicinity of doing looting, and you'll be let's see how much disappointment are we gonna get. Crystal ring. That's a life tiara that will boost Porum when she overtakes Palom. At least won't make it'll actually make Flare if Porum is the leading character, the selected character. Should be okay until Palom gains levels, and that'll easily overtake her. I don't think it's but the early tiara is a boon for sure.
Yep, and if Ed shows up, we saw 2 Hanzo steals in there, so that would be getting him online too. And meanwhile, Tybalt has the first objective down off the board, less than 2 minutes in, so hopefully the rest of them go a little bit jetty, but not maybe necessarily that jetty. We don't want to be done in 10 minutes.
But well, it's kind of when you have like no free when you have a hand safe, it's hard to have a jetty scene. Not that it can't happen because it's not. I don't think it's a guarantee that it'll happen. It just kind of unlocks the potential of the randomizer. So more likely than not, if something is gating you, and you probably might have to go to the more likely than not have to go to the moon. But it's one of those things where when you have a even on regular seeds where you have a moon start, sometimes you feel like, especially if there's a lot of moon objectives, you might feel a little kind of not a little afraid just to go to the moon that early. And even if you do it, you just do it for the information and get the free character. That's kind of the way I at least start to look at it.
Yep, and we have Soapbox Gamer also taking on this Baron Guards. So this is one of those scenes you don't want to forget about those two spots because there's no key items here. Occasionally, we've all done it. We've sort of forgotten about Mount Hobbs, like the waterfall and Escape.
Yeah, go ahead.
Soapbox was through, and we've got Plumeria heading for the Antlion Cave.
I'm kind of surprised that's taken a little early. You might be able to get the levels for Porm to get exit. That would speed it up, but it's not. I don't think it's that difficult given that you got twin magic to speed this up. So it's really to kind of save on the walk out. You're gonna have to walk in, but exit saves that time walking out. But then the boss fight it wasn't too bad. It's just it's 2 hits and that was a hit. Not really much HP at that spot anyway, so it's not a bad thing to do. But I do suspect that we do find a cane on Mount Hobbs.
And we've also seen a Rubicon on Mount Hobbs as well, which is glorious. That's a nice quick takedown.
Yeah, it's nice and free. I don't know where that was picked up, but regardless of where it was picked up, it's always it's good, nice to have a few J items handy. I think we start with like a generous kit set. I don't remember the exact.
Yes, it is the loaded kit, and it looks like there's some exits in there because Plumeria exited out of the Antlion Cave, which that's helpful.
Yeah, that should help alleviate some of the early game kind of grinds, or even just getting some of the trap chests. Like when you start at on a seed where potentially you go to the moon early, you really want to kind of think about where's your grind going to be at, the early grind. Like you might have to do hair dryers early. You might want to think of doing the flame dog chest. Just go to, like we have, especially with the early earth crystal, might want to do Zot and do the flame dog chest just for the loop outright. So it's kind of a thing kind of keep in the back of your mind, even like especially when you get the early darkness crystal, the I forget the name, the eye, I forget the name off the top, but it's a free fight as long as you can take care of it quickly.
Oh, you're talking about Plague, I think. Yeah, that would go.
It's the metallic eye, in the giant, the trap chest.
Oh, okay, that
last eye.
Okay. I have Plague on the mind just as I was seeing it recently.
Was it that? I mean, well, Plague and like Bag of Ordeals would still be terrifying. Although, I don't think the anger. I mean, we can always adjust the anchoring situation to reflect that. But I don't think that's a big deal. I think Kane, especially with the early Kane, given a spear, Plague is not as threatening. But I've never wanted to count out that boss.
It looks like we're gonna have Plumeria give us our first peek of the full defense, and we see that Yang has gotten lost and is taking a bath in the waterfall.
I mean, there are better places to take a shower, but that's it's natural. But they'll see what that fight is. Tybalt, probably going for I think just for a loot gamble, not for anything. Bahamut, that's pretty free, but just try to get a couple bluffs, and use Form to do the twin cast. So that should help. Just should be one more hit of that, and that should be good enough for Plumeria.
It goes off the Comet, which is... it's enough. There we go.
Yeah, I think Comet is I think it's the same as the Monster Quake. It's like the 80 spell power. The Flare is actually I think it's almost virus level. It's like 120-ish, if I recall correctly. So it's it's like virus before actually having virus. And it's a hook. I guess we have a hook route, but we might not actually go that way. Who knows?
The good news for the runners, the unsafe part did not actually come up this time around. They don't have to go to the moon to get underground.
I mean, it's a fortunate thing.
To get under there.
I mean, it's a fortunate thing. You don't if you get underground access, then you probably if you're going to go the safe route, that might be the thing to do. There's a chance. It's not a guarantee, but a nice pickup of Sorcerer Robe. In the Chocolate Forest, tier 6 items can be generous there. The package should be on one of the ribbon room chests. So that would be a worst case scenario, but that would also be a favorable scenario in the same way because you pick up what you need. So, but there's. It can be gated. The gating is just freed up for the randomizer, at least as far as I'm concerned.
Well, there is still, I think, the possibility that the logical access is still the magma key, and that maybe you have a wyvern on that hook route, and we have to go to the moon to get the magma key. I don't know. We see there. Looks like we've got a flavor of Mylon on Mount Ordeals. Mylon Z.
It's a little French vanilla, but that's not too bad. Should be a free fight on that spot too.
Yep, and with Palaman with Fire 2, this won't take long at all. And Mylon and friends would be hilarious if they've gone to the backside of Ordeals, just flip places with the other guy.
It's interesting. Tybalt's taking on the trap chest. The Meg. This is not a tough fight, though. Just for a moment there,
yeah.
I think maybe some early luck and I'm not sure they were hourglasses because that usually frees up, especially with I think the Mute Knight was in tow, so that would have helped a lot. But no, I see Orb on the back of Ordeals, which it's you, but it'll take time. Just have to get rid of the Defender Orb. We're probably not going to try to use Twin Magic as the Flare is actually reflectable. Comet is not, but that has a much, I think it's around 25% chance or so to hit. So you don't want to gamble there. And Kane will probably do the bulk of the work because we need him to kill things.
Soapbox on the other screen had pulled out a sneaky Sork Robe from the Choco Forest south of Ordeals. It'll help that Palm out a lot with some early damage.
Yeah, Chocobo Forest, I think I like the one in Baron, but the Mystidia one is just as good. And some people like looting the Black Chocobo Forest north of Troya. That has three chances of some decent loot. Just to always worth remembering that as far as the game is concerned, or at least for the randomizer is concerned, all the Chocobo Forests are considered one group. It's probably better to remember for dark matter hunts, but yeah, that's just Kane getting annihilated. That is, this spot does have unreasonably high spell power, and the orbs know how to make the most of it.
Yeah, Plumeria had tried using some grimoires that were in the starting kit, and unfortunately it rolled Odin, I think, 2 or 3 times, and It doesn't work on a boss.
There are some few bosses that it works on, but the majority of them, Ian, that's the thing about Grimoires. I mean, you would probably want to use something like a Calbrena or even the Baron Guards. The things that don't have the boss bit. So that's the cute one is the Mylon fight. You know, the one with the dancing, the undead dancing party. It will target all the undead, I think, and that I think saves a lot on the kill. I'm trying to remember if you still have to kill Mylon, but that is one of those fights, the cute fights where you could actually use the Grimoire on.
It was Morpheus trying it on his side, and he at least got damage out, but it was not the best damage. And now, of course, we've got the globes coming out.
Yeah, if it's not Blarg or Blarg or Leviathan, you wasted your turn. And that's unfortunately you're fighting against a pool of damage summons which include Chocobo, Demist, Titan, Jin, Indra, Shiva, and Odin. So that's a pool of summons which probably will not kill anything outright.
I feel like gambling, you always just simply reset if you don't get a Bahamut on the first try and just keep resetting until you get one. It might possibly be faster, I'm not sure.
I'm surprised Possum actually got off a flare before the wall. That usually doesn't happen. It's not a particularly fast spot, but just being able to get it off is actually kind of impressive.
And as you remember, the Stardust Rod, which can just break through that wall no matter what, and got through the CPU.
That was worth looting. So I think that was the Life Staff with the Stardust Rod, and that was, that's kind of, when you have some good loot early, it does kind of speed up quite a bit of the early game. It's kind of Stardust Rod can get rid of a lot of things pretty early, including like something like the Black Cat Lamia trap chest in Eblin. It's just the Black Cats are kind of a thorn for many runners. You just takes a bluster and just assume it's probably death, and if you're lucky, it's paralysis.
And meanwhile, we see that there's nothing of value at the Mount Reveals check, and boss is the Lunars, which with the virus on Palom will not be hard at all with the Stardust Rod. Tybalt is done with Eblin, found some good stuff there, including some glass helms, I think.
It's still useful. I mean, it's one of those things where you can. One of the things that allows characters like Tala to stay alive, but or at least the one character that at a punchy spot will at least be able to tank quite a bit of damage, especially in the back row. While has zero value, for in terms of magic defense or magic evasion, just letting a mage character tank damage is invaluable. Especially there are just so many punchy spots that you love having a glass helmet available.
Or we just like to do a cheeky Porum tank maneuver, just for the heck of it.
But why does it have to be Porum? Is there?
Because A, she's on screen, and B, it's the funniest one out of all of them.
It's not fair. Don't give in to the propaganda. Porum first, Rudia second, Rosa third, and even though the order of usefulness is probably in reverse, but it doesn't matter.
I don't know about you. If I go out to the club and I see a 5-year-old guarding the place, it'd be hilarious.
Hey, she will punch you. That's how this works. You don't let the violent child protect things, because they can actually do it. Don't. And Tybalt having a better time on the Mad Ogres, but only receiving a coffin, which is nice, but not.
It's very on brand for Porum, come to think of it. And meanwhile, we've got Plumeria through my ordeals, and Soapbox will be joining shortly because that CPU has gone down. And Possum is checking out the Tower of Zot.
I mean, the two characters are worth it. I mean, I don't remember what the character at Baron was, but I don't. At this point, you're just hoping for something decent at this point. I mean, I think we're gonna pick up whatever they are, regardless of whatever's at Baron. But you know what it is? It could just be that, at least for Possum for routing, because once you complete the Tower of Zot, you land in Baron, so you're gonna do Baron anyways. But we see that the Antlines in this floating tower or some flying tower.
Yeah, apparently didn't have rocket fuel to get to the moon, so it stopped here at the Tower of Zot.
And the Dark Elf is the first boss at the spot, so this is it should be pretty free, although it might be slower because there is a boss transition in between, and we saw Cane whiffing, which is rare, but you know what, it happens.
He's in the back row, that's why he's whiffing.
That's true, but you know what really causes Cane to whiff? Something like a Drain Spear. Drain Spear, and I've done it with a jump and seen whiff Val in vanilla. And so it's terrible. It's hilarious. It's like, when does Cane whiff? Oh, and this is this isn't as bad. This isn't too bad.
It's just it's a lot of time for a character you probably don't want to take in the sea unless you're going to use Eddie as the anchor. And
for Plumeria one King killed, but Golbez is invincible, so couldn't actually die. That's something. I would have actually considered just doing jump and hoping he gets off the jump and then Golbez does his lines, because by that time that's a free character that lives through the sequence.
that's true, although since there's no experience here, you don't really care so much about all the characters living. You just need to get a Star Veil off to reflect some of this magic back.
Yeah, but it's more of a generic. It doesn't really. It's not spot specific.
Oh, and the Tower of Zod is a Zonk, just a K and a Porum. Those are dupes.
Yeah, well, that means we actually have to pick. I guess we'll have to pick up the Eddie with no spoon. That's not. I guess. It's not. I mean, could be worse. I guess.
But, you know, if you had Teleron, you could just stone Eddie and then just carry him around as a statue.
Hey, speaking of vanilla, Possum taking on the Val, just shouldn't be too bad. I mean, this is kind of like vanilla. You have the Cane, you have a white mage, and somehow we have a black mage. It's fine. So, I think
and
so.
A pink tail from the Baron Inn, which, given the adamants are not on, is not necessarily all that valuable to see.
I think you'll still trade in. You'll still turn it in. I don't think we found a good weapon for Cane quite yet, so I think that'll be the value there.
It'll be Crystal Sword with no Cecil in the sea. That's what it's going to be.
That's always a thing. It's a great joke to go. So Possum is interestingly took the kind of the choice to what was it? Just take on the Val with the Cane. I mean, Cane is the solution to everything, but using slow, because this spot is pretty fast. So slowing down Val gets more turns in for his characters which are pretty slow. I mean, Cane would be the fastest, but the twins are probably not not quite as fast. So the extra slow, trying to slow down the time to arrive at the spinning or unspinning sequence.
It's the rat tail, so this will help out Possum because If he does Baron next, he can do 2 tails for 1.
What is the chance to just go for the twin? No, let's just going for it. So I guess he'll be the beneficiary because I would have just turned in the tail, not knowing that the pink tail would have been here. That's what. Sometimes you may it's worth routing it, but maybe just not to interrupt the current routing. It makes sense for Bossum. I would have just.
And it's another dupe called that one. And it's a Baigen on this hook route. That's not pleasant at all.
I think that's kind of panic-inducing. Oh well, I mean, as long as Pound gets to level 23, which is why he's notably known as Quake Kid. I mean, this kind of it's actually harmless as long as Pound gets to the level. And I think I think Tibble probably has arrived there. I'm not entirely sure, but I think most of the runners are pretty much close or near that point. So it's actually going to be freer than normal. And I think that was the pigtail turn in. So and of course we haven't seen a Paladin yet to take on that sword.
Well, the seed has some jokes for us in the early going here.
I mean, there's always plenty of jokes in the seed. It doesn't know when the jokes will happen. When it does, it hit hard, and it is amusing until it's not. So I don't know. I'm all for the randomness. I think Mary is trying to hunt for the flame dog. I don't remember if Possum was looking for that flame dog, but I think probably settled with the the lifestyle from the Stardust is good enough. Kane getting a decent weapon would be nice, but probably not really required as long as he's jumping or getting some hits in. It's like Kane is probably going to be. I mean, we know where Val is, so Kane is just really just the insurance policy for that, and we know where Val is. So once you reach Zot and you fight the Val in her spot, I mean, this is then you could probably ditch Kane, but I think we're gonna be. I think for the seed, might actually be character deficient. We might not even have a full party.
That's a very nice arty bow that Soapbox just pulled from the trap chest in Evelyn Cave. And honestly, if you're using a trader's or insurance policy, I think you want some different insurance.
I like that insurance. I mean, eventually, I know when you're gonna be betrayed. The question is, it's when. And frankly, as long as it's early enough where I can trade Kane for Cecil, I'm good for that. That's the ultimate way of trading up.
So insurance on your insurance. Okay.
I mean, where else could it? It's free. That's all I can say. Interesting. I'm wondering if Plumer's gonna use that Edward as the anchor later on. I don't think maybe there's no interest in reviving Edward, so that might be what Edward might actually end up being. We have a full party, and I don't think I'm pretty sure Seer Hero is not on, so I think it might just be that until that spoon shows up. Well,
there is no spoon flag on, so it doesn't matter. Eddie is useless regardless.
Well, then perfect floorboarding material then, I guess.
Yes, and there's only 7 characters available in the seed, so I mean, depending on what you got, I mean, if Sid and Tella are both here, it's like you might have a bunch of lousy choices.
I still think you'd still want to Tella. The Sid is it's okay. It almost doesn't matter, but I think when the spoon shows up, then at least you can do Slingshot. I guess that's the alternative way of looking at it, because in Slingshot, so when you have a full party, Slingshot means that when you a character that is less than 5 levels of the median, the middle level of all the characters, not the average, but the median, which is the middle level, then the characters gain double experience. So this is designed for characters coming in late or having a low base level. So this is useful. If you've seen a number of races, or check out the YouTube races, and especially with when there's competition, you'll see where slingshot when available is really handy.
Yep, and let's see. Awesome got a Baron key from that Rat Tail turn-in, so is back here to check out the shop, see if he can buy some cabins. I've forgotten that there was S cabins on the flag set today, and we'll now go into Baron Castle.
But see, I was saying that you might have like when I go to trade in, and then if it happens to be the key item, it's one of those things like, okay, for routing it's great, but then because you get to turn in the two tails, but you turn it in later, you get the key, you might not turn in the pink tail, which doesn't lead to, which might not be, it's not immediately useful. I mean, there's the timing of those choices it can lead to different results that way.
Gated cabins. Yes.
That was interesting. Plumeria, I know what Plumeria is doing, so because I don't think Plumeria has any heal potions, and Pora might not have learned heal yet. It's like level 24, I think. Because if there's no way to heal, then you might be. It's like it's effectively permadeath not being actual permadeath, because you can't actually heal out of it.
She knows it though. I just saw it on screen.
Okay, that was strange trying to get rid of. I was like trying to get rid of Palom, and I understood why. It's like, but you didn't have to do that. But I get but being in the back row doubles your defense. So it's not shown on the stat sheet, but whatever the defensive value of the character in the back row, you double it, and that is their effective defense for when being punched.
Yep, which is why you always keep your mages in the back row unless you want to eddy them, like you've seen on a couple screens. Meanwhile, there's a Plague and Baron. Bring out your dead.
So I don't think Possum's gonna look in the basement, but the chances of, say, Darkness being in the basement can be pretty high. So it's not out of the question. It's more of a could it be there? And this is pretty free-ish. I don't remember if trying to remember if the Kanaza spot is high in spell power. I don't think it's not much of a threat, at least in terms of the big waves. It's based off of the HP of the character, the maximum HP of the character. So I think it's only a quarter of the damage. So if it happens that you have a remainder, if you divide by 4 and have a remainder, you'll survive 5 times. If you perfectly divide, you actually die in 4 big waves.
Yeah, although in this location, it's not that much of a threat. I mean, the Ice 2s are going to be your bigger threat because that could take out, like you just did the forum there. But we're through the Leviathan.
It's unfortunate you probably won at the levels, but it's not critical at this juncture because the XP isn't that incredible. Yeah, so I mean, you're getting at worst you're missing a level. But I think by this time you've learned Berserk, and
there's a Yang. That's one of the 3 characters that was called for under the Unknown 3. So this is shaping up to be a great party so far.
I think there was a cat claw somewhere. I don't remember where. I think there was a cat claw pickup at some point. So that would help, but I don't know if the Thunder Claw is at large yet. Like
it's been seen. It was in the treasury, so I think most of the Mars would have that they haven't sold.
Yeah, it's probably not sold. I mean, what is there to sell when you can buy only cabins? It's not like what do you do with your money?
It's more for inventory management, not just for getting anything out of it.
there's a trash can. That's free. And
Well,
Possum.
that trash can is always free, and there's a free Sand Ruby in there. So Possum is going to check that out and see if he has any good characters in the seed at all.
It could be another Porum. That's how the seed is running.
Nope, it's another karate.
But we have a full party. That's something to be said. Although I think but we know. I mean, looking at the party, and I think there's a pretty good chance our party is going to be this arrangement of characters. So
Look, this party is only 3.5 people.
Who you calling half a character? Is it? Are we talking about Forum again? Is that unfair assessment?
No, Forum counts as a whole character.
Wait, we're talking about Yang? That's.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of levels in order to get out of being a half.
I think that's unfair, but I understand. The thing about Yang, and I'm not his biggest fan, but I feel like, I mean, running enough Cs where sometimes Yang is your melee guy, the guy who's gonna have to punch all the things, it's not. I think it's just you have to just kind of just be patient. It's not, and yeah, sure, when you have to be like level 50 before it becomes incredible. But there's sometimes in a seed where I think Yang is actually better than Kane if Kane doesn't get a good weapon. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes that's not the worst choice that you have here. It just isn't. Sometimes especially when the team is mostly mage here and Edward. You kind of need all the firepower you get, and unless you somehow supersmith Kane's best weapon, Yang's gonna be your best offensive punch choice when your other mages don't have offensive spells to speak of. Outside of Quake Kid, who will probably still be useful for the most part.
Uh-oh. Possum's trying to take down the Eddie, and Eddie ain't cooperating.
Well, Edward.
There's Kamikaze. Okay.
Well, we figured that. That's solved the problem. Officer's gonna go away, so have a nice fight.
Yep, Possum and I have had that coffin that one of the other runners found, because that would have gotten a bit more experience off of this. And it's the spoon! Just look at it, Eddie. You can't actually use it.
This seed.
We aren't letting Eddie use knives either, by the way.
No. Bards and sharp tools. You can't have that. But that's a kind of, at least that's a free fight. But that also means that our Darkness Crystal at this point we know is in the underground. This seed. As I said, just because unsafe is on for key items, it doesn't mean that the crystal is going to be found immediately. It's just saying we've unlocked the possibilities so that it's not super difficult.
I will point out there's still the possibility there's a D-mist on the hook route that will have our Darkness Crystal. It's just if the sea wants to be really rude about it.
It's a...
Or kind of a magma key would just be annoying.
It would have to we know it's Baigen, so D-mist would have to be preceding it at the King Queen Evelyn spot, and the King Queen Evelyn spot has a devious amount of attack power, because for a spot that has no punching that involved in that sequence, that means that the developers didn't have to fix anything. It's fine.
Yeah, they just copied and pasted it in a different table, right, or something like that. Or they just were figuring we would do a randomizer 30 years later, and it would be fun. I think
the only spot that isn't there's an exception to that rule would be like something at the Golbez spot. I think it doesn't actually punch very hard at all. Of all things, because the Golbez spot doesn't ever punch. So, and it's actually it's a pretty weak spot. The Calbrenna spot is much more devastating. So that's by comparison. So yeah. I think that's like the only real exception that I can remember, like where a not punchless spot isn't as threatening as it could be.
It looks like Possum is going to imminently give us a look at what the first boss is down here. This is the first runner to going through the hook route. As our resident comedian wonders why he is being defeated yet again. And as Plumeria finds the bad news that we just have duplicates all around the overworld.
It's fine. I don't. But I think, and let's say the plague shouldn't take too long for Tybalt. It's I mean the Bygons. So one thing with spots with multiple components, like the Bygon spot, where the plague is at, the randomizer combines the HP of that spot. So the arms, whatever HP you have, plus Bygon's base HP is the total HP for that spot. Now, when you have split enemies, then you use that combined HP and then split back to whatever it is proportionally for the boss that is in question. So something like, you know, that's a very very bad sign, and it's just gonna be fun. We're actually have to figure out how we're gonna gain our levels. And we can, you might have to go think of like doing one of the sorcerers, or even at least do the trap chests. Just hope for something.
No.
That might be more.
In this case, your solution is hide the Eddy before the first dark wave gets off.
He has to live this time?
At least there's no experience here. Is that gonna mess up your anchoring situation?
Yeah, that's the thing about anchoring. Might wonder. Maybe worth taking out the crystal ring and the cat claw. It could mess it up, although it's not likely. But you always want to do that because any character you have character like an Edge who just or if one is like or very speedy character in your party might actually beat Edward to the punch in terms of turns. And see. Yang's already the first one, and that's definitely not what Possum wants. So needs to try. I'm not sure what he's trying to do, but trying to slowly, trying to get the revive in, right, or heal. Okay, so he's gonna get the heal and try to, Kane is gonna be the one surviving this fight. Yeah, trying to pause through the thing.
This also works. I mean, you only have to get one character to live. And that should do it. That's why before this fight, Possum was checking everybody's agility to make sure it was going to go in the right order. This Cure 2 cycle was going to work.
Yeah, this wasn't the first choice. The first choice was probably getting hide Eddy and call it a day. But given what turned up, that was the contingency plan, is to give the person with the most HP all the healing, which in this case is Kane. Other characters ideal for would be Sid or Yang, but in this case Yang hasn't gotten enough levels to scale his HP into incredible heights that quickly yet.
And meanwhile, Possum is not going to safety safe. He's going to go right into this wagon. So
as long as Quake Kid gets his turn in, you're fine. Because then all you're contending with is Bygon. And that because both of his arms are dead, he's just reviving him, and you kind of try to lock him in that cycle. That's why Quake Kid is kind of like a godsend in this fight, where you just want Quake Kid to live. You don't. You probably still want to get rid of take down Edward, so he doesn't gain any XP, because your anchor ideally should not gain XP in the fight. Just be because gaining levels has the increasing chance of gaining agility, and that is a bad thing for Eddie, especially with low level. And most likely, I think Edward would also fall into Slingshot, and you don't want to accidentally gain a lot of levels for Edward when you don't have any replacements either. It's just dupes. No dupes are on, so there's no replacement, and we don't have a replacement character for it at this point.
Yeah, so there'll be replacements somewhere along the line. We just don't know where. It could be in the Giant or some place that's really kind of tough to get to.
I don't, but you can't have a dupe. But an Edward would just disappear in the ether. That's kind of the unfortunate part. So, but Possum's just gonna essentially Quake Lock this Baigan to death, and this fight, which would normally be difficult, is resorting to that, and you're not really worried about the reflected walls either.
Just you make sure that this Eddie drops at some point before the fight's over. And we're just going to be camping Palom's turn until the arms come up, and then quick them down again.
It is kind of the best. It is the best thing when you have the opportunity to get like Berserk on a character, the Berserker will get some free hits in while trying to get to Palom's turn. It's helps with the queuing of things. I think also King is also Berserk, I think, so that also helps. But I think Possum's trying to find a way to kill off Eddie, I think, or no, I'm still not quite sure yet. Oh no, it's just
there he goes.
Some difficulty on the Soapbox game and with the Leviathan, but hey, the Betrayer came through. Just the Betrayer surviving. That's all that matters. You just need one character surviving. That's all you ultimately need.
Yep, they just hope that he will actually revive the other three at some point, and not just simply take them back to Golbez and say, haha, here's the rest of the party.
If only that were a thing.
That would be the after years coming up at some point.
Soon. So are we gonna wait another 19 years? Is that I know the lore is 19 years like after the original events. I'm not sure it was actually 19 years from the original FF4, but it could be. I'm trying to remember the exact amount of time. It's about the same amount. It took a while before and I think in the after years was like kind of a series of mobile port like stories to combine into one thing. So it wasn't before. It was before like the Wii actually. Now if I think about this.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Possum, trying to eat all the buttons in the crystal room, fell for the pitfall again. So the pitfall is undefeated, and Possum has to go and choose some other buttons somewhere else.
I mean, the only way to defeat the pitfall is to enable PP2J. That's the other way. Push B to jump. That's a wacky flag that you can play that you can run on some of the seeds. If you've played Mystic Quest and Possum infamous for speedrunning at one point or another, that's a jump feature in Mystic Quest. It was added as a wacky flag because it was a cool idea for a April's Fool Day joke, and it's actually something that you can roll on the website if you want to play on this randomizer. And you can get more information if you want to drop by the Discord, because all the real shenanigans start there.
Speaking of shenanigans, there's a curse ring on Tybalt's side for that Eddie, so Eddie is now going to be slower than molasses.
You always want to make sure that the curse string is not on a character that has exactly 15 base agility. That's all that needs to be said, because 0 agility doesn't mean some sort of division by 0 happens. Something else happens. It's just basically what you think should happen, it doesn't happen. And so it's more of a be wary if it happens. It's a typical thing that you see on a Tella, where because even a spry old man does gain agility, an agility stat.
As he's speeding up towards his death.
I mean, Meteor is free. I mean, don't Soma drops exist?
They do. I don't know if Tella would consider it free considering the consequences, but
Oh, spoiler. He just prevented from casting spell only because of MP restrictions, not because just story be story. But yeah, he can cast rocks like normal. The vanilla options to obtain it is you were never supposed to attain it, so he can die. He can cast it. It just there's a glitch you can use to get to actually allow him to cast Meteo at will, actually, without even needing a Soma drop.
yeah, so that glitch is not on this flag set, and is usually somewhat rare to see that one on.
But when it's on, it makes Tella do fun things. And Tybalt actually getting Edward to survive that fight. Probably missed of it. Probably got revived somewhere in the sequence, and then got him to hide. In a boss fight, Edward does not manually hide. This is a normal thing. And forgot to turn off encounters.
Good thing we won't have run on in this case. That could have been really bad. Oh, look, who's here? Cecil. And we had a little bit of a zoom in on that, so
it's the perfect time to do the grind everyone loves. Alt-hit. Kind of hoping that would show up at the Masamune altar, because who doesn't love fighting evil masks and behemoths and red dragons? Oh my!
we can't get that lucky, unfortunately, most of the time. So at this point, what should we hope for at the Masamune altar? What could be pretty rude over there?
There's still plenty of nasty things that exist. But we have. I don't think we've seen Ogo yet. We have seen Leviathan, so that might be on the table. But
we have not
vanilla.
seen the turtle. That would be kind of rude. Could be that. I think that Wyvern's not that bad in that spot, but our Wyvern does not have Witchburn or Wyvern on it. It's gonna be a straight up Mega Nuke if we get in there.
But if it's just regular Mega Nuke, that'd hurt, because that spot, like a few other spots, have incredible amounts of spell power. So it's there are spots like the Ogo spot where Ogo doesn't really make use of the magic, the spell multipliers, other than guaranteeing that the big wave hits. I think the CPU spot actually has incredible amounts of spell power too. I'm not sure we need it all for Wall, but I mean, it's Wall, and so it looks like Possum's the last fight of the sequence. The fifth fight is always the rarest fight. So surprisingly, when you fight the All Gauntlet and you fight it in the Ribbon Room or the Plague Room, one where they're near the save point, one of the last fights is Tricker, and it's like can be deceptively easy fight, but it's actually the kind of like oddly not as threatening as you would think, unless you like to play with lightning.
Well, there's a Bad Ideas Club that might consider trying that.
Is it? As long as it's a rule that you actually cast lightning on it. I mean, it's weak to lightning.
I'm sure that could be arranged. There is just a nothing here at the Dwarf Castle for the check here. And the warp glitch is not on, so we're not going to be warping back to try and check the crystal room because there's nothing there.
Yeah, the which is not on, but the warp glitch is a simple thing where the game decides to use the same room for two different things. So so both the dwarf castle for the the sequence and the sealed cave point to the same location, and what that means is that when you and for some reason they allow warp when you're in when after you've completed the fights in Dwarf Castle, you warp, and somehow, hey, the crystal is populated, voila, and that's how you can pick up the crystal, the darkness crystal, without actually having completed the sealed cave, but without you skipping the boss fight. But you still have to, for vanilla's sake, you have to actually still open up the door and then attempt to leave, and then the betrayal happens as scheduled.
Scheduled betrayals.
I mean, some things have to run on time. It's like, like a broken clock, and it has to be right twice in a day.
I'm gonna stop right there before I go any further on that line of thought. Anyways,
But that was amusing. Possum picked up the cackle. I was like, wait, I want this.
yeah, meanwhile, the boss up on the lower Babel top is the Magus sisters. Just getting their towers confused a little bit. That is actually not a bad place to see them. The magic power there is not all that great, so
I think the only thing the only attribute they'll have is they'll be tanky, and that's about it. The Dr. Luge spot has quite a bit of HP to combine. I mean, you have,
yeah, but it's split through ways. You got a Quake.
Yeah, it's still fine. We don't have the adamant, but we have at least the other half of Forge, not required, but it's always good to know. It's always good to check. I think really, at least for runners, at least in Possum's case, what only really needed for is to try to get the 10 key items for double XP. This, as you do, and when you're gonna have to grind at some point, you just kind of want to speed it up. Getting 10 key items gets you there quicker.
Yeah, or if the moon gets into play, you might just simply take the moon bosses and never grind at all. It's possible. It's depending on how things play out.
I see Possum's count of key item count is at 9, so that means probably trip to Fey March is in order for trying to attempt to get the last key item. But even though Lit 1 you remember as the least threatening spell, if you don't have any magic defense, Mylon can actually punish you for that, and still hoping for it to hit Eddie at some point.
Yeah, unfortunately, Mylon is not cooperating on that score.
It's
so
fine.
That's okay. Palom is just going to inflict a pandemic on Eddie and take it down.
Soapbox not having a good time with that Pain Man's wrath. Dark Wave really is just it. I don't think much of it when you actually have the Dark Knight, but when Dark Knight actually is fighting you, it hurts. And at spots like here where with a really high punchy spot, then Dark Wave, especially when it doesn't care for defense or magic defense or evasion or magic evasion, it's basically sheer pain, unavoidable pain. Or you can't avoid it with hide or jump, but you can't. But there's no way to really mitigate it. That's what makes that fight pretty difficult for people who don't actually regularly see that fight. It's nothing to do with the K unsafe. This would have happened whether or not K unsafe was on.
Yeah, to get back to that point, DKC is not one of the bosses that is on the list of things that can't show up on the logical route underground. That's saved for Golbez, Val, and Wyvern. If we did have Be Unsafe on, however, then that DKC could not have been there.
And be unsafe is be unsafe is is interesting as a flag, but
I'm sorry, it's Be No Free. There we go.
be no free, yeah, because you have to, then that means you have to actually take down the boss at that spot. There's still some free fights. I think the officer is the only real exception to it, but things like DKC is probably I would call it the beneficiary in terms of ruining your day. But think like Water Hag, you'll still see Anna appearing some of the time. Depends if unless Water Hag's in a low HP spot, but you actually don't have to wait for the three hit kill if it's a low HP spot. But it's gonna just punch you to death as it normally does.
Yep. Meanwhile, let's see if Possum gets the 10 key item Darkness, just sitting there for free. Okay. That gives Possum 10, gives him Moon access. So, at this point, exceeds the package for Go mode.
There were not really that many other choices left. I mean, you would have to go up tower if it wasn't here, or whatever would have been leading up to Harp. So there wasn't, or maybe locked behind the pen. So right now, I mean, this seed, like many seeds, hey, the underground is gating darkness as it usually does.
Yeah, and I mean the summon spots are on, so I mean it could also be the Feymarch bosses who would have had the access. And let's see, it is a free king and queen, and it is a elements, I believe.
Yeah, we saw Ruby early on. I forget where, but we did see Ruby much earlier. I think it was Mount
Hobbs.
Yeah. So this is super free. We just have to wait for the for the spells to commence, because there's a lot of HP to chew through. The Leviathan spot punches hard, but since these cast spells, these tickle me, kind of tickle me Elmo. That's all they're good for at this point. So just wait for the sequence. Sometime some other spots you are tempted to, if you can do enough damage to the king, as the queen will disappear as when the king is dead. So but there's a lot of HP in this spot, and I don't think there's enough DPS to speak of to eliminate the king. Even if we made Quack Kid bluff out maximum damage output, it probably will still take too long. So just letting the sequence do its own thing is the best solution. And Possum went that route for some free XP and maybe another key item, probably hoping for the pass, possibly.
Yeah. Tibble did take that warrior chest in the Feymarch passage, and just got a lunar staff for him, so not what he's looking for. I mean, you're probably hoping for Crystal Sword sitting in a spot that might not get checked.
I thought it was a life staff. It was not the treasury not rated, because that would have been the only difference, because the better item was already available, but if it hasn't been looted,
it's just the only person who can use it right now. That's all. Didn't say she was going to use it.
But she's gotta use it. So
she's gonna dual wield stabs one of these days. Trust me.
Someday. There's a wacky flag for that. It's called Omnidextrous, because you can do more interesting things with Omnidextrous than double bonk.
Look, I want 9999 cure 4, okay?
Cure 4. It's just interesting. Didn't want to take on the element spot. I don't think that I don't think it makes a difference, but I don't. But right now, I mean, we're not in go mode till we find the package, and I wonder. It'd be interesting if the package was literally at the queen spot. That would be trying to remember. So elements, I don't think is gonna benefit a lot from that spot. Now that I think about it. The spell power will be kind of actually devastating for the ruby part of that sequence. Actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah, and there's a bit of a lower chance that a summon spot has a key item as compared to a main check. And at this point, Possum's got 6 checks on the moon versus only 1 in the Fey March, and it's probably gambling that that Fey March can probably be faded because it usually can be. And I know in my seeds lately, I've had a lot of bad luck trying to take the Fey March odds. Like, it usually does not pay off. You'll see if that's the case tonight, though.
I'm more for like, I mean, I do enough trigger seeds like this. This is too bad.
There's an edge. So we had 2 good characters late in the seed.
There's nothing wrong with that. I think there's some decent gear, but it looks like he just wants the loot, like the black belt and the bandana, the top shelf items to take it. That's what Possum's doing. I'm trying to also fighting the inventory boss because it happens.
Yes, the inventory boss is also undefeated in the history of Enterprise.
You can't win. You will always, if you forget to like clean up or sell off some stuff or just dump things, the inventory boss will meet and greet you every so often. And Temple's actually taking on the fight, which is interesting. I mean, I think this is more of a neighborhood play. I don't think it's that threatening. You have a black wizard, so you should be able to do something to the elements. And
there's the shortcut.
Yeah, usually with a split, sometimes the HP threshold is shifted in your favor, where as long as you do enough damage, it's great, but this is not. I guess this is probably worth a pickup, but not exactly desired.
Well, Temple already had a glass helm from a different spot in Evelyn Castle, and it just turns out that the fade on Possum's end turns out to be the right play of the seed. So now we'll have to see what gets faded on the moon versus done on the moon. We have 2 objectives here, so we'll do those first, because do your objectives first. And, then take your freebies if you get any.
Yeah, I think there's still plenty of freebies on the table. I don't, maybe a few of them, less than I remember.
We have Water Hag still on the board.
Yeah, that's the freebie that, if the worst place it gets, one of the worst places to get put, it would be at the cannon, super cannon room. But yeah, because that spot has only the 3 dark imps, which have only more HP than I think the Demas spot and maybe the Kai Bogart spot, and that's about it.
Speaking of free, the D-imps is also a possibility. Oh, and here they are. What do you know?
Yeah, we spoke them into existence. That's just how it works. So
I'm gonna add that power on something better than just DMs.
Little dark imps, actually, I would argue they're if they're not free, if they're no free, they're if not worse than Baigen, I would argue. Because all dark imps do is punch. Baigen's arms do a little more interesting stuff, like Vampire and I think Entangle, which is a paralysis attack. So, relatively speaking, dark imps are all front row unless you use size, which then the game does funky things where it decides that the other 2 are in the back row. They're on the front row, but when they're sized, they are not. It's FF4 things.
Now we're just leaving a bunch of imp statues on the moon for the Lunarians to look at. Wonder what the heck was going on here this day.
That's what the Baron completing Baron is for. You see the statues. That's what they're for. They kind of automatically get moved there, in some way, shape, or form.
Meanwhile, a pan and a pass for your thoughts.
It's a nice pickup. This is I mean, who doesn't want the pass? The pass is a really nice beneficial tool for when you've completed the moon but don't want to have to trek all the way down. It is a major time saver. Sometimes it's not the item you want. When you pick it up when you're least expecting it. So it's just nice when you don't have to look for towards the end game where it's like, where's my pass? I wanna take the quick trip, and here it is.
Oh, this is lame. We have a free water hag down here at the Masa altar.
Someone said this seed was difficult. This flag set. What are you talking about? Free water? We're still getting free water hag. Why?
Going back to the pass. I mean, pass is great, but I'm sure the one group that doesn't want the pass is the Lunar Subterranean Tourism Office. They have a hard enough time getting people to come down here.
I think, when you have monsters like Bimmy and Jimmy, Fatal Eye, Evil Masks, they're a special bunch. They can't. They're just hard to forget. So it's like a Halloween themed kind of thing.
Well, there's at least just a free magma key down here, so there's still a package hunt that's stopping Possum from getting to go broke.
So right now that means you're gonna have to fight some bosses. Might reset out of really just gonna have to fight them outright just to see where the package is. There aren't too many spots left. Should be there's the moon.
Let's see. We've got 4 spots left on the moon, value and 3 on the subterranean. We've got the 2 giant bosses. If Demas is there, it's holding exactly the package. We've got the Tower of Babel, Cannon Room, and Top Tower. And we've also got Cave Magnus, I believe.
But that might be gated under something else. That can make things a little difficult. So it is still possible something like harp gating package or tower gating package. I think from a routing standpoint, there's nothing on the moon, like the package is not directly found on the moon, I think maybe just doing top of tower, like we have two chances at key item, being the Mag Sisters. I don't think anyone is. Actually, Timbo will find that out for us. But maybe the tower key might hold the solution too. So it depends on where. So kind of see what the result of the tower is before the result of the LST, just find out what's really left.
And Plumeria dismissed Palom, it looks like. I did not see that coming.
That dismissed probably doesn't want to get to Nuke Kid. That would be the only thing I can think of, because you need levels to get Palom to Nuke, and that would be the only way of getting that to work. I mean, it's easier to glitch. I think I'm pretty sure the backward glitch is on this seed, so Yang has to be in the front row until we find a boomerang. Edge can be in the front row. We can backward glitch Cecil. He can be in the back row, and that will. And as long as Porum learns Cure 4, we're good. And we already found a second Excal on the seed, and so that Excal not helping anyone, because I think everyone has at least probably turned in the Pinktail for their own copy of the Excal.
Yes, meanwhile, the Spear in the Stone was playing the Sword in the Stone in this particular seed, so we'll look for a good Spear for Kane at some point somewhere else.
I mean, having a Berserker heavy key, I mean, is not the worst thing. Although but I mean, as long as Kane gets a decent weapon, which I don't think there's a Kane. I don't see a Kane on that party either, in Plumeria's party either. So that.
Meanwhile, there was value at the keyless tower because that does have the package. So now we know exactly where everything is. And the longer Possum stays on this moon, the more that gives Tybalt a chance to catch up.
But I think from a routing perspective, you probably want to do tower keyless. You want to do it's not keyless tower because he has a tower key. So that will probably be the next destination. Because you probably not really wanted to degenerate into a Demon's Hunt. That's kind of the thing. So most likely we'll try to fade hunting the Demist is what Possum's going to end up doing, but we'll still end up checking out all the spots, fighting all the spots regardless of the outcome, because we know, and we're in no mode. We know where everything is. So Possum is going to lose a lot of time indirectly because didn't do keyless tower, and that's usually a spicy thing to do in a seed.
Let's see, since two of ours have it, where was the tower key anyways? I've forgotten.
It says in LST, because
Sheila won. So
Sheila,
it's something that Possum did not set up because Pan was on the moon, so he was probably waiting to set up that Sheila for efficiency's sake. Sheila 1 has burned me a number of times, and I've forgotten to check that before going to do something like the moon or whatnot. And it could be a big factor here not again tonight.
Sometimes, I mean, I would call a worst or a kind of a terrible case scenario is that, Pan is found in its vanilla location, which is Sheila 1. So, sometimes you actually want to do that sequence before going to the moon, and that just, it's one of those things where, sure, for efficiency you want it to pan, but sometimes in seeds, like when you spend a lot of time on the underground, you might as well, talk to Yang, come back up, get Sheila 1, and see, and that's some, and I know people like to say fade Fabul, but sometimes the pan might be closer than you think, and sometimes you just have to just do the thing that might not be the most efficient, but you can't. It's one of those kind of gatekeeping things that you might actually have to do in a seed. It's not. There are other things to like fade early on, but I feel like pan is one thing you just. If you don't get it early, you just can't entirely fade doing Fabul Gauntlet or doing Sheila 1.
Possum is going to save some time here by actually save scumming and checking this pan out, and it will pan out.
Well, that also incentivizes doing doing tower as that is the eventual result. So,
and there's an adamant rock that might possibly delay a little bit.
I mean, there might be. I mean, it's worth a gamble if it's just for Kane, but it's kind of. We'll find out soon enough because it'd be like a detour. But it looks like just go for the
gamble rejected.
I mean, realistically, when you Super Smith without a C hero, the Super Smith mother can be for any character that might not be in your party or just be in the seed. So and some of the items in the Super Smith pool are actual junk. So it's not entirely worth it sometimes. So if you're praying for a king weapon, then by all means. But it's not. It's like, and hey, free king weapon. Oh, there it is. See, it worked out. Hey, yeah, I mean, I just love the Avenger.
Avenger is very good for Kane, especially if he has nothing else better. And 9 times out of 10, it will not burn you unless DKC or the Lunars is exactly what you're facing.
Or Golbez. Like,
Well, that too, but at least that gives you a chance to bump Kane off.
if he even gets selected, that's what it's. There's no guarantee of that though. Like, I mean, that's really that fight. Uh, in free enterprise, you know, you 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 only get 2 characters alive for that to kind of effectively start the fight with. Like after the Shadow Dragon does its eating, trying to simulate the vanilla effect of having only 2 characters, Cecil and Rydia being the initial participants of the fight, or effectively. I mean, you're still in the fight, but then people disappear.
Yes, but there's some anti-Golbez equipment that can let you keep more people alive because there are certain items that grant immunity to that, whatever the Shadow Dragon does to kill you.
It's instant death, so it's just death resistance. So since adamant armors, while they're off, they can be tamed by pink puffs from a regular drop, which would end free enterprise streams immediately. So, allegedly, it hasn't happened yet on the free enterprise of networks. It has actually happened once upon a time on a sister site. I think it was a RPG. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but
that's happened. We don't talk about this.
But the other piece of equipment is the ribbon. That's the only other source. So that's at least some reasonable chance of getting it, but that's also unreasonable because it's a big pool, and oh well. And surprisingly, Possum hasn't even checked the tower. They want to do Ogo Pogo, and I think hasn't done K value yet, so I assume he wants to clear out the moon. Didn't want to do while the tower key while it was still down on the Earth, which
well, I think what's even worse is I think you reset out of it, in which case you have to eventually go down there again to do it.
Oh, reset out of it? That's I don't think.
Oh no, he didn't. I thought I got my package mixed up. That was at Sheila. Nope, it's just a way to get to it. All right.
So Tybalt's found the Dark Elf. Well, has not, and will be at the Massimo Altar, and might be the first to get there before Possum, just because of outright routing. Possum, while efficient, but like when there's something that is not in the efficient part, it's one of the it throws kind of your it increases the time. Like efficient routing is awesome when things fall away because you can hit your key items or hit your bosses or required objectives in a faster way. But what happens is sometimes the thing that the kind of the less likely objective or fight that you need to take is the one you need, and then that becomes the last locationed item, the last locationed objective that gets completed, and that is kind of rando being rando, but it's one of those things. Sometimes you want to do things out of a hunch, or sometimes you choose because it's just faster to do things in a certain way, and sometimes you gain some time doing it or lose some time because you're doing 10 other things which you did the one thing that was available much earlier on the seed.
Yeah, sometimes their fades are dictated by personal choice. I mean, there are certain people who always like to fade the harp if it's a possibility to do it. We're even giving them a chance tonight because that twin harp is really buried tonight.
What are the chances its harp is actually buried here, actually? At Dolls. This is the Dolls at the Bahamut spot. The Dolls won't punch really. I think the Dolls won't punch too hard, but we'll see. I don't. Yeah, that. Trying to make up some time. Not a big deal. And Tybalt. I wonder if Tybalt is just go for it, just immediately. After just do immediate walk instead of do a save. Tybalt being a gambler, likes to do that, and might actually choose to do that because already did the package, is now has now will get the crystal and can immediately do Z.
I would say that's probably what he's going to do because he did actually burn it before coming to the moon to do just that. I think. I mean, past might have changed his mind, but in order to use it, you'd have to actually walk out of here, and then he's gonna walk out though. So never mind.
Safety save. Oh, it's fine. There's plenty of time. There's, I mean, look. You have the. I think fighting two. Oh nope, just doing the pass route, which is which is whatever. I don't think it's. I'm trying to remember. Is it actually faster if you leave the way from that route? I feel like it.
What is
What's Tybalt doing?
is this for more levels or?
Oh, maybe needs a grind to get New Kid. Just needs probably just a behemoth.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's let's say a couple levels short.
Okay, I think that makes sense. It's not something because I mean kept the Palm and I think it was a Plumeria that you mentioned earlier. Ditch the Quake Kid. Well, this is kind of the reason. Don't want to spend time getting Quake Kid to Nuke Kid. Level 52 is Nuke Kid. The level Nuke Kid needs for Nuke. Which is much easier than the level 50 that Rydia has. I don't remember the exact amount of experience. It's like 800, almost 900,000 XP. Rydia needs 1,000,000 XP. That's. So when it comes to who gets Nuke quicker, it's definitely New Kid, just based on experience.
Setting aside slingshots or things of that sort. Yes.
I mean, slingshots would make things nicer, but then you'd be doing something like a D machine grind or egg grind or something. And I don't right now. This is just convenient to get the XP. Should be easy enough. Shouldn't take too long. And also I saw Tybalt. I think equipping the crystal armor on Cecil prevents Berserk magic from working, but the Avenger ignores all of that because Avenger is Avenger.
Yep, and this is half of what Palom needs. Gets Meteo.
Yes. Wait.
Is there music playing in the tower tonight? I'm just curious.
Musical chairs? I don't know. There's always music playing, regardless of where it is.
Does anyone like spaghetti?
There's a club. That's all. That's all I know.
There is a club. I wonder if Phosphorus realized where he has to go yet.
He's literally last locationing it. Like, I mean, this is like out of the way for the thing, and Demus is in the giant at this point, right? Or we haven't even checked tower key because had need to because Tybalt with keyless tower.
Yeah, it looks like it's either Demus or it's the Super Cannon has to have it. Package boss could be a thing, but if it's the Demus.
Yeah, but no, but at that point, but we know it's not going to be there, so it's not going to. Well, actually, it could be at the D, but you'd have to have the package, and that it wouldn't. But we wouldn't need to because Demus doesn't have the package, so it doesn't really matter. But
no, but Possum doesn't know.
Oh
that.
Yeah, the Possum.
I mean, if we knew where to go, this would be a lot less interesting.
I'm surprised they didn't check the Super Cannon room, but
because it's not the first check. You have to leave the tower to figure out what you're actually going to get.
Yeah, it's true. I guess. Well, because then if it isn't, you have to actually walk back out, and you have to gamble. It's not at the top of the tower. So I get. I actually, I wish, I usually talk about keyless tower and all that at times, with though this and I usually like to play. The thing of it is, I don't usually think about when you have the tower key, which one do you do first? And it's like I usually do it in order of just doing the super cannon, then do the top. But because because we want to find out what this is first, because you only found out the consequences of it after the super cannon walking all the way back down. It's like, yeah, you know what? I'll update my routing soon.
Yeah, it is more efficient to take the top first. And speaking of efficiency, Tybalt is showing us that sometimes the best way to get a good anchor is to simply visit the Tower of Wishes when you're ready to make a swap. Or this might be just getting some equipment off Medi. That might have been also what was going on.
No, this is Quake Kid is going to be the anchor. I think that's what it looks like. Because you can bluff some of the lost power back. And it's not actually a bad anchor if the stats align. I think that it works, and it works out. It does kind of mean that the Quake Kid gets a few less turns, but but nuke is instant. It's not like any other thing. And
Not sure why Possum is taking this.
I think Possum already knows.
Well, he has the package in hand, so I mean, I'm not sure.
Oh.
Unless this was just trying to get Palom up to close to nuke, I don't know. Anyways, you're seeing some flags in chat, so tell us what this means, Deathlick.
I think we gotta go to sleep. It's almost midnight Eastern. It's 11:30 Eastern. So I think Chad's telling us we need to go to bed. I think that's what it means. No, it's not. Actually, that's not really what it means. It's that time of the seed. You know, we have to fight. We have to fight Zeromus, because Zeromus is the final boss every single time, unless it's.
I hate to break in, but whose butt are we gonna kick tonight? Because it's brought to get shown.
Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, got over 500 sprites. So that's. I think I see. I'm not sure.
I want to say this is probably something to do with Xenocat is inspiring this.
Probably. There's some notes. I feel it's like I almost think it was something like some sort of DDR, but it's not. But I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure if someone knows, that'd be great.
That was a clutch save by Palom. There's 7 HP more than he needed.
I mean, that's how it works. That's how surviving works. And I see Kane with a terrible. I think it's Ice Brand, because of that's whatever. Right. I think it's gonna be some. I think it's gonna be some hybrid strats. Although Palom is gonna take a quick nap. I think Tybalt got the revive going, so it's fine. So yeah, that's life. I think it's life 2. No, life 2 is actually much further in the sequence for that's Berserk. Okay, so that's fine. So just 2 Berserkers. Maybe get a free nuke or 2, but Palom. No,
I think that actually in this case it looks like Palom is just going to be sitting on the ground for a while, and the melee character is just going to get rid of this.
It's fine. I mean, you could obviously speed it up by reviving Palom, get some nukes in, ideally reflected nukes, but probably want to do it safe. And Palom probably might not get the same kind of turns in because he happens to be the anchor for the team, so probably it's fine. You have Cure 4, you're usually good, especially when Porum reaches around 1700, 1800. It's usually safe. Still not invincible to, not immune to Big Bang deaths because those happen. And you know, even if that happens, if it runs off the rail, Porum is killed. There's usually reasonably enough offense for the Zerkers to do the work. It's enough damage anyway per each character.
Yeah. So let's see if we're going that road or not. Yep, Porum is down. So at this point,
Put the controller down. But the black hole shouldn't be too far behind, though.
oh, we have rocks instead, which could be dangerous if this doesn't get down and just there's dodge. Okay,
it's fine. I mean, Edge will survive regardless, and up there.
there's a boom shake anyway. So, GG to Tybalt, who finishes with a time of it's like 1 hour 32 minutes and 34 seconds. Second. Overall, first on Restream, GG.
GG Tybalt. That was I mean, that you know that surprise trip to the just do Keyless Tower. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get it. Sometimes you don't. And this was definitely not a regrettable decision, as no one wants to look for package anywhere that much deeper. I mean, sometimes that play doesn't pay off, but it's one of those. It's not quite like my preferred do Murazame alter first sometimes when you do LST, but I think it's up there for not a terrible gamble before going up to the moon.
Yeah, and it depended on the runner. Some of them had the tower key before attempting the tower, and some did not, just depending if you Sheila 1 or not. Which again, it's a case of you want to take the time for Sheila 1 and have to double back later, or you just say, well, it's best to just check it.
Yeah, I have a tendency to lean towards trying to do that to get the pan first, but no, if kind of like when you look for the 10 key items, you know, it's worth just doing the attempt and see if they pick up the 10th key item that way. That's not, you know, a half bad thing to try. So sometimes, you know, your key item situation may dictate whether you do something like that, like just something that isn't not as interesting, but may pay out. And you know, and it leads to obviously the objective we actually need, even if it's not required for the seed.
Speaking of objectives that aren't required, Tybalt is giving us a listen to the harp soon that we never got to see because the twin harp was just buried way too deep. You're Not Alone from Final Fantasy IX.
So, and looks like Possum is mostly doing kind of the same idea in terms of strats for endgame. Yang being probably will not still at an ideal level, but probably would have done better than the Kain that did not get a weapon of worth. So this is, you know, I say this, that Yang is better when Kain doesn't get anything worthwhile. And joining us right now is Tybalt. GG's Tybalt.
GG's. Oh.
So what did you think of that package location?
I saw Rabon finish, and I'm like, oh, I just got in the package. I'm like, well, I always forget how low the magic is at top of tower. So I see something like Mega Sisters, I'm like, nope, I'm not doing it. And then once I got the tower key, it's like, okay, well, it's 2 key items possible there.
Well, you got there sooner than some of the other people on Restream because we had some very, very long tower fades going on there. So,
it's understandable. You play the numbers game. You know, you've got 7 on the moon, and you've got just 1 on top of the tower. You know, granted, I had the tower key. at the same point, you have to go all the way down to the moon. But if you don't have the pass, you got to come back and turn the package. It's almost better to just kind of clear everything out on the Earth that you can, so you don't have to make multiple trips going back and forth.
And the way the sea was laid out, turned out that clearing the blue planet first was pretty much the way to go, as long as you found the package.
Oh, I found that pass. I was so happy, because once I grabbed that edge, I forgot to grab the curse string.
We saw you had to stop by there to take it off of Eddie.
Yeah, I saw, like, well, it's fine. Tom could be the anchor. Oh, I don't have the curse string. It's fine. It's totally fine. And then I saw Porum's HP after doing the 2 objectives. I'm like, I'm not feeling too keen on this. I guess I could do Behemoths just to finalize everything. I've got the pass. Cool, I could pick up the curse string. Golden. I had initially thought about doing Sylph Trap just for levels. If I had gotten the package sooner, I might have done that. Because it was either 10 key items in Darkness and I'll do Sylph, or at that point I was in Go mode. It's like, is the 300,000 experience up on the moon enough? Don't know.
I mean,
Yeah, it would have been a thing. I mean, you had a crystal ring, so that could have let you anchor so you got Quake off before anything could have attacked.
Oh yeah, I mean, I probably would have put the curse string on Porum, and I would have been able to do, BS3 Quake with Palom. I had an early curse string, and that curse string came in clutch. DKC at King Queen.
Yeah, that was a fun one to see, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, I was all prepped, ready for anger. I'm like, cool. I mean, I've got Palom, and then all of a sudden I saw DKC. It's like, nope, reset. Eddie goes for it first.
Yeah, we saw 2 different ways to do it. One was the Eddie strat, and we also saw someone basically setting up turn orders that one person with enough HP could get 2 Cure 2s off on them.
Yeah, because there's no Cure 3s. You're not going to find them in shops because there's just cabins in there. And unless you found some, sitting in some chests, your Cure 2s have a wide range of like between 300 to 600. So, gotta hope for some of those high rolls.
Yeah, definitely. So, what are your thoughts on this flag set in particular, the lunar trip here?
Just like the last flag set where it was the underground racing club, this one being the Lunar, it brings back a lot of memories for me, because this is around the time that I started playing for Enterprise, back when it was just the LRC and URC for the club races on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so it brings back some nostalgia for me. Oh, that was a trip of the Z fight. I saw the rocks coming. Uh-oh.
it was fine. Just as long as you can survive 2 hits, you're fine.
I mean, I'm in the middle of the Z fight and I see Possum type, and I'm like, no, don't snipe me.
Oh, he had a circuitous route, effectively last locationing. So you did the thing that you were supposed to do. So I mean, finding the package, as he took on everything and anything before he got to the point where, oh, that is the only thing I had left. So you got it. You did the thing you had to do. Sometimes it's not fun to do without the pan, typically, when it comes to doing Sheila 1.
Yeah, that's the only reason that I went. I mean, I was doing Sheila 1 because I was so close to 10 key items, so I think I was at like 9 at that point. And I'm like, I just need one more key item. I'll, get 10 key item, I'll figure it out from there. And it was like Tower Key, it's like, I can finish the Earth. Let's just finish the Earth, and then I can figure out, and then, like, either I'm going to get the pass here on Earth, or the pass is going to be on the moon. I'll be happy either way. That was kind of the driving factor in that aspect. Was either way, I'm going to probably end up finding the pass and have a faster way to Z than the walk down. Other than that, I'm just, I'm still calming down.
Yeah, the surprises were everywhere.
All right, any other questions for me?
I'm all good.
I'm good too. Thanks for researching about that.
Not a problem. I always enjoy, you know, you gotta put a show on somehow, and you know, with great commentators like yourselves, it's always a pleasure to do so.
All right, well, GG, and have a great rest of the evening then.
Yeah, you too.
These again.
Meanwhile, while we were talking to Tybalt, and we have a possum appearing in the channel. GG.
A possum. Run away. Oh, that's me. My bad. Hi, y'all. GG's.
So, when did it dawn on you at some given point that the probably the place you ended up last locationing was what you needed the most?
I mean, I think I was basically done with the Mura altar or the Cave Bahamut spot, and I was like, well, it was one of the spots I faded on Earth. That's the risk you take when you leave Keyless Tower, Sheila 1, and Elements on the table. Elements at the service spot. So I left 3 spots on the blue planet in favor of 6 and 2 objectives on the moon. I think I'd do that every time again. So yeah, I mean, it dawned on me that that's what was happening, but I don't think it's going to change how I play one bit. I was actually really, really happy with how I played that seed. It was probably the best one I've run in a couple weeks. So execution-wise was like really, really spot on.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, there was no. I mean, you took down every boss, no issue. It's like, but just seeing what Tybalt stumbled upon much earlier than you did, and you clear out pretty much every boss that you had kind of reserved for to last. I mean, that's still pretty good. I mean, it's hard to argue. That was brutal efficiency for everything you taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was very happy with the run. It's just, you know, sometimes you pick the right thing, sometimes you don't. And, you know, once I got the package from the top of tower, I was like, well, I hope the Twin Harp is the Super Cannon room, because that'll allow me to do the 17 out of 17. The reason being the race room sign-up icon for volunteering was 17 out of 17 tonight. So I thought it'd be fun to get to do that, you know, for myself and those racing, those watching. But you know, it was a good seat overall. If you weren't properly prepared, that hook route is going to eat you alive. So I'm glad I was set up for that. You know, I had the recognition as immediately upon seeing DKC to reformulate the plan and, you know, kind of get everyone set up properly. Basically, that's a one-shot on a DKC bike and hook route. Like, I'm A-okay with that. Like, overall, it was really good. I like the seat. I like the flag set. You know, just picked wrong, and that happens sometimes.
I mean, yeah, you bested the hook route very quickly. That was, I mean, you were first. At least you were first on Restream to get there. You were at it immediately, and when you saw things, it was kind of a textbook just handling of these things.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it was, like I said, it was a good run, and I was very happy with how I handled everything, and, you know, boss recognition. Like, I could have done maybe Dwarf Castle slightly better with the gauntlet, but even still having the extra J items, knowing that, like, Black Lizards don't die to your traditional, like, AoE Virus or AoE J items, but Boreases they will die to because they're Ice Weak. So, like, even recognizing that and, you know, being able to put that into play, like, just was really happy with the run overall. So,
If I could follow up on the last of the routing you had there, I know you Save Scum went to the Earth to check the pan. The reason you went back to the moon first for checking the tower key and got out of there?
so Tower Key came from Sheila 1. I was chasing the Pan. I was chasing the Pan Bonk and Sheila 2. If Tower Key has the value from Sheila 1, I look at that as being like, well, I'm dead already. Like, even though this is a community race and because we generally focus our tournaments on one-on-one, I want to play it as if it were a one-on-one. If it were a large-scale race, like let's say a 70-person qualifier, then yeah, I'm doing that Tower Key right away, because finishing in the upper middle pack is still perfectly fine in a large quali. But in like a 1v1 style, you gotta be willing to get absolutely obliterated by your fades. Because if you try to cover everything, you're just going to lose more often than not. You almost always have to fade something, unless you just think you are so far and away better than your opponent or opponents. And I don't think we really have the luxury of having that attitude anymore in FE. Everyone is so flipping good now.
I think just had only one more question. With the duplex set, I had there was for a moment there I thought there wasn't there were so many forms, and I think in Kane and the Karate Man that you would never fill out your whole roster.
I mean, with an Edward basically being an anchor, even with the spoon being on, it's kind of like, or spoon being off, he's basically never doing anything but anchoring. So if you're going to get stuck with 3 characters, Palamporum is a pretty juicy start, having Twin available. Finding a Stardust Rod certainly made that better. And then having Kane as well, like that's your Val protection, it's a Zerker. Like, if you look at old Adamant Cup rules, basically, that's a white mage, a black mage, and a Zerker. That was what you played with. It was your 4-person team, was an anchor, a white mage, a black mage, and a Zerker. So that's a comfort zone for me. It's not Rosa and Cecil and Palom. You know, it's Porum and Kane and Palom. It's kind of the second tier, but like it's still more than good enough. You know, it was not difficult. At least for me, for what I found. The Crystal Ring was huge, the Stardust Rod was huge, and then Porum had a lot of good gear too, like Tiara, Life Staff, etc.
Yeah, I saw that, and you took the Yang over the Kane, I think ultimately, because I don't think you had ever found any sort of Kane weaponry worth speaking of. So I assumed that was the case there, because you also had a Cat Claw too.
Yeah, so I had a Blizzard Spear for him, and I think I had a Poison Axe somewhere in there, but it's like, those are, you know, Val's already gone, Ruby was already gone, and it was like, what am I holding on to him for? Like, Kanatsu, at that point, I'm just gonna, like, Zerk this Cecil I have, you know, and keep this Yang with the Cat Claw. And then, fortunately, when I was trying to find a bow for Cecil, because I literally never found a single bow the entire seed, I was opening some boxes in Luca Cave and found a second Cat Claw, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of cool. So that really solidified keeping Yang even over the edge on the moon also. So just, you know, Yang, when you're also relying on a Porum, Yang is a huge safety net. Because Porum can very easily fall over in a Z fight, Yang can take a Nerf Big Bang and an unnerf Big Bang and still live to tell the tale, and then like be able to res her and, you know, have the fight kind of get back to a normal cadence. So Yang is a bigger safety net than Kane and an Edge as well. He might do less overall damage, but it's a much safer option with a Porum. I think I probably lean into either a Kane or an Edge more with a Rosa, but Yang is a nice safety net with a Porum.
I never really thought of Yang in that sense. I mean, but the HP pool obviously is certainly value that can't be understated, especially when. Though I don't think you could have taken advantage of that during the DKC fight, but that we did. I mean, that's I hadn't really thought of it that way. I don't think about it. And actually, that was but this otherwise, that was a very good race you ran outside of last location. But that happens.
Yeah, not gonna fret about that. But I'll get out of the comms booth and let some other folks get their interviews in, and let y'all carry on. So thank you, Deathleg. Thank you, Guerin, for the comms. I appreciate it. Dave for the restream. Sheep Launcher for the tracking. GG's to Rybon and Tybalt finishing ahead of me, and those who finished behind as well. GG's to them. Thank y'all for having me, and we'll see y'all tomorrow for the Tournament Preparation League. Early plug. Sorry, not sorry. Have a great night, y'all.
Hey, GG.
He's awesome.
And we've got Plumeria Night Fish in 4th place with hour 39:57. We've got Joe at 143:17. Rex Banner at 147:27. Ian Discovery 148:56. And Poydrak 151:26. And we have Plumeria in the channel. GG.
Thanks. Howdy, y'all.
What GG's to you, Plumeria. I think you deviated a little bit from. I think the rest of you. I think you yeeted. I think you said you yeeted the Palom for the edge when you got on the moon. That was my recollection.
Yes, I did.
Is it just because you didn't want to get nuke for the nuke kid? That's essentially, I think, what it boiled down to.
Yeah, I thought Yang would be more helpful in the Z fight. I think a couple of reflected lit 3s would have been more useful, to be honest, but that's okay. He tried his best.
There was a lot of interesting things that in this flex that were you. I'm sure you were very well prepared for possibly taking on the Darkness Crystal, even though I think the seed ended up being a more traditional, underground then moon type of deal.
Yeah, White Mage, Palom. That's a pretty good recipe for taking on the moon. Just need a little bit of XP to get going, but today wasn't so bad. We got that hook pretty early, and then once Val showed up, Zot was no longer, any logically useful underground. So, still did it anyway because I felt really behind. Just doing all that overworld kind of paid off, but probably just doing Eblin Trap Chest gets you through that Dark Knight into Bagan. So, not a huge advantage after doing all that. And I thought the spoon might be a nice advantage, and then I went to equip it, and oh yeah, no spoon flag. So. There goes that plan.
I think that's happened to everyone every so often. You just take for granted the spoon flag was there until it's not.
Yeah.
But I think I assume you found a cursed ring so that he just does his normal thing because he can't do anything at that point.
I did not find a curse ring. I had to keep him on the ground, so. I didn't have any flexibility with my anchor today.
Yeah, I think I forget where it was. You can help me here, and I know that definitely.
I know that Tybalt had it, which means I would suggest Eblin Castle maybe for that.
I did not loot Eblin Castle. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would have been a place to loot if you hadn't gotten anything worthwhile. But with the early Earth Crystal, I think that changed a lot of minds.
Yes.
You got well situated with the life staff and all the goodies that we kind of poo-poo, especially with T Pro being on.
Yeah, a tiara, was great for Twin early. Could never quite set it up. I need to practice the Palimplorum starts a little bit, but I really wanted to go to Eblin Castle because I needed a cane weapon, but I really didn't want to run into the Mad Ogres who had no way to defeat them, so I decided to go for just Eblin Cave to Staleman, and then I saw Bagan and said, well, I better do the extra XP in the Mad Ogre chest too.
Oh, yeah, totally understandable. You had any questions, Garrett?
No, it looked like it was a very well-run seed, just a little bit of bad luck here and there with some of the things. Rando
Yeah.
Rando, right?
Yep, Rando's gonna Rando and Possum's gonna beat you.
Any thought of keeping the Yang over the cane since you didn't have any good cane weapons? I mean, because I think there's a cat claw in the treasury, if I'm not mistaken.
Poison Claw, I think, and I did keep Yang. Yeah, I had Yang instead of Cane. But I did get a white spear late, so I wish I had kept the Cane. But yeah.
I think that kind of does it for me. I mean, maybe if you have just reflect on the flags. Were you happy with the seed or the flag set?
Oh yeah, I love these flags. I used to run the Lunar Racing Club back in the day. This one was a pretty difficult one. I think all things considered, just because of the starting characters. So it was fun. It was nostalgic.
Okay. GG's again, Plumeria. We'll run race. So, I mean, you can't let a rodent win every race. That's all right. It's all right. There was a lot of things to be dealt with in that seat, anyways. No shame in that. That'd be hard for any racer. Just looking at the seat, the flags themselves can be tricky sometimes.
Oh yeah, I definitely think this is a tricky flag set. So I'm happy to get through it, and I think I played pretty well. So I'm not unhappy with it at all. So.
All right. Well, thanks for letting us restream you, and GG, and have a great night.
All right. Have a great night, everybody. Appreciate the restream, and enjoy the finish.
GG's again.
So we have our last restreamed racer currently facing Octavimus.
Shouldn't be. I mean, it shouldn't be too bad. Don't know. Not sure about the strat problem. I assume the hybrid strats because there's just I think everyone's getting berserked. Kane's getting his last person get berserked, and I'm not sure if Pelham has learned Nuke. It should be close. I don't. I'd have to check. I'd have to see the spell list, but I don't. But might as well. But it's probably trying to be safe. Probably trying to be safe. Although I think this is for the Big Bang nerf because first Big Bang is the easiest one to be nerfed. All you have to do is apply some sort of magical attack, which so it could be usually a offensive J item, but also can use like a heal or something or slow. But Crystal is a free one that you can always reuse, as it is never destroyed, which is kind of strange. But hey, it's FF4 things.
Yes. Meanwhile, Pelham does not have Nuke. We saw that our virus is reflected off of the edge.
Probably could have been like a lit 3, but but instant cast is a thing, so understandable. You want to try not to hold up Pelham.
And we see Chris come out again to try for another Big Bang nerf.
That's the second one is usually the more difficult one to get, just because of the timing. The window Z has to shake, but then and there's like a kind of a turn that has to happen in between. It's like a small window between the shake and when it actually uses Big Bang.
A few ticks have to come off. I think it's either 2 or 3. So because there's that sap effect over from the first Big Bang, you sort of time it by watching people's HP. That was not nerfed. So for us to come out here, hopefully we get rocks.
Actually, that'd be the worst thing to get rocks. You want to get at least get the Cure 4 in immediately, and this is good enough. There's always the risk of trying to get the subsequent Big Bangs. It's more requires a bit of practice to get that right. It's not easy, but that's fine. Even if Edge dies, that everyone else will live.
Yes, and that's just in time because Rocks did come out not long after that Cure 4 got out there.
Yeah, it's hard to understate the power of Cure 4. Z fights, even if you have a Porum, you just want to get her to Cure 4. Cure 3 may not be enough. It's easier to get Cure 3s if there's less people alive because of the split damage. But Soapbox completes killing Z with not too shabby, over almost 2 hours. We'll get the exact time, but GG's to Soapbox.
Yep, GG. The time is 2:01:51 officially, and that is that's GG. We'll see if are we gonna get Soapbox in for an interview or not, and
Well, while we're waiting, probably want to talk. We'll just mention some of the upcoming free enterprise, upcoming streams. I think Saturday will be the tournament practice club. I think that's what. I'm not sure if that's the exact name.
Tournament Preparation League.
Yeah, so that's at 8 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, and Baron Hero's Journey Alchemy's Club. That is Sunday at 3 p.m. So there will be more free enterprise this weekend. Don't you worry.
Yes, if you like this particular flag set, I believe it is also starting again next week on the Monday and the Friday community races. And after this last interview is over, if we get to talk to Soapbox, we will also be sending you over to RPG Limit Break for more Final Fantasy fun.
Yeah, they are doing a Final Fantasy relay, playing plenty of your favorite Final Fantasy games, including this, I believe, but also it's like Final Fantasy 1, various other Final Fantasies in the series. There's just so many. So many that it's going to be a race. And joining us is Soapbox, I believe. GG, Soapbox.
GG's, guys. Thanks.
So what did you think of that siege? It had a lot of jokes for you in the course of the routing.
I actually did mine the first hour and 20, and then the end game just fell apart like a house of cards.
The moon is always difficult. Even if I'm sure everyone, when you have access to darkness, you probably went down to well, actually you had to get darkness from Feymarch, but like you kind of felt like a more of a standard-ish route, right? You go underground, then go to the moon.
I honestly thought when I luckily spiked the guards in the first 2 minutes, I'm thinking, oh, well, if I keep making decent decisions, I might actually have a chance at this. And it, save for a couple like wipes just due to dummy timing and things like that. The first hour 20 I thought was pretty clean, and then the second I flew to the moon, everything fell apart, and in a very artistic and awful way.
The moon's always a challenge, no matter when you show up to do the objectives there. Sometimes you can do a grind. You can I'm even doing maybe some of the behemoths usually, which I think, which are kind of know what they are. In Bahamut's Cave, the ones, those are. They have. There's there's plenty of options, and sometimes some of the bosses at their spots can do a number on you. And so I think the free water hack at Masa would have been a good start.
That felt really bad when I got there first. I'm just like, why didn't I just go to the objectives first? I might have actually had a chance. The one time it's like, oh, it's in there. Usually when Vern's waiting for me in there or something like that, and it's dark, it's Dimps and Water Hag and Massa. That's what I just knew. I was like, wow, this is not going to end well. because by this point, somebody probably had already finished. You know, I'm already 20 minutes behind because now I'm last locationing the one key item I need, and of course it's in tower because I faded it.
And tower fades were pretty popular tonight because of having to do Sheila 1 to get the tower key, so you had to actually not fade Sheila 1 before you went to the moon 2.
But they didn't fade either, but at that point I had already had darkness, so I'm thinking, do I go back down there and do the tower, or do I just, at this point I have edge. At this point I'm going to get it, I'm going to grab edge when I get up there, and I'm like, I was like, well, everybody else is already ahead, I might as well just roll the dice, and I lost. And it just pretty much is going to be, I'm not going to fade tower for a while because of it. I was hoping if I got through the ribbon room or if I got through the mass altar, maybe the package would just be sitting around there. I mean, at least I had a pass, so I didn't feel as guilty coming back. But to go all the way up tower, to finally have a mute knife and just decimate the sisters, and then have it be sitting there, you just feel that pit in your stomach, and it's just. And that's what happened. It's like the second I saw that was hour 45. I'm like, I'm finishing last.
Oh, it's understandable. The keyless tower, it's a great meme on its own, but it's a favorite of mine because it's always like, had I done this? Should I have done this? And sometimes I actually faded, and nothing's there. But it's like this one time. It's there, and the objective that you need is there, and it's like, why did I fade it in the first place? I could have done this. It's a split decision. Everyone makes it. I think. Maybe it's just me. But when you pick the location, it's like it's Maxis. That's kind of a free fight. Sure, you don't have the tower key. So maybe sometimes you would try something. Just there's always a decision that's made when you think you do the hook route, because everyone had to do the hook route to get to the darkness crystals. So
yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking about it that way, because at that point I got through hook route. I know I'm going to Dwarf Castle immediately afterwards, because at this point it was like, I'm not going to be able to use a spoon. I'm stuck with an Eddie. He needs to get out. And I actually felt good after Dwarf Castle when Cecil walked in the door. I'm like, here, have an X-Cal. We're ready to go. Now, I should have thought about it then, but, routing put me to the Feymarch, and the second I had darkness, I just had eyes on the moon, and, I'm okay with sticking to the decision. It was just usually 50-50. I tend to hit the tower just once, and of course, the one night I decide not to is the exact night I pay.
No, rando be rando. No, it's not your. It happens. It happens.
Always. It's always. I always find a way, and honestly, with this week's A6, the way I've been running, it's basically been a humbling experience. It's just one of those things where it's like the one decision I wanted to sit there and say, you know what, this is what I want to do. The opposite ends up happening.
Yeah, no worries there. You had something to ask, Garrett?
No, I think I'm pretty good.
Okay. So otherwise, you had any other thoughts about the seed or this flag set in general?
Actually, the flag set was actually a lot of fun. It was just, like I said, I liked 80 to 90 minutes of this run. After that, I'm not really a fan of it. But, but that's more of my own decisions more than anything else. So at least it's okay. I lost because I made a decision. It was wrong. I can live with that. Yeah, there were a couple bad wipes, but it was just due to stuff where it's like, all right, I'm not set up correctly. All right, maybe I shouldn't be doing this yet. Luckily it was nice to have one siren in my pocket to just use on Gold Dragons afterwards. The second I saw the dolls over in Bahamut Cave, thinking to myself, well, I could spike that, spike this, and I should have enough to get through most of the other room, and that's usually what happened. So at least everything I planned to worked out. It's just the last 40 minutes decision-wise, it just didn't pan out in any items for me.
Yeah, it happens. It happens to everyone. Don't worry about it. Sometimes it's easy to reflect on it, and sometimes just I think the old adage meme here, just do your objectives, just that like, and sometimes if you don't know what the bosses are, at least you can kind of prepare, like if you fade them initially. That don't like just peek, at least take a look at what they are before you just do everything else but them. There's no like sometimes the boss, like the moon can be scary, but if you've done enough seeds, you'll find out that more often than not, the bosses on the moon are just going to be what they are. There's just, like you might be fortunate and you might not get fortunate, and the times you get fortunate, you can cash in on that.
Yeah. I mean, I felt okay about it because obviously I peaked at the top and it was just like, all right, Ogre's not going to work out now. I felt okay about bailing from that, and then the second I got my opening with the Bahamut Cave, I felt a lot better about going down there, and then you just start laughing because it's just I should have just went down there first. But yeah, did it cost me about 5 or 6 minutes? Yes, but at least I know for that point there's two things I'm going to take away from this. Yeah, run down there, don't be scared, and don't feed tower.
But that might not be true next seed. Well, half of it anyways. But GG's again, Soapbox. Good.
I appreciate it. GG's to you guys. GG's to the Restream team. Love all y'all. GG's to everybody that finished in front of me. Congrats. You guys are great. As always, it's a pleasure and a privilege running against all of you.
Yep. GG. Thanks for participating tonight, and have a great rest of the evening.
Thanks. You too, everyone. Take care.
Alright, well that's going to wrap it up for us tonight on this channel. So we're going to kick you over to RPG Limit Break to look at the Final Fantasy Relay. Again, thanks to Cheap Launcher for doing the tracking tonight, NG Dave for rolling this wonderful seed and doing the restreaming, and you, Deathlight, for being the co-commentator with me tonight.
It was a lot of fun, and hope to see you all next seed. Just remember, there will be more Free Enterprise tomorrow at 8, Saturday at 8, and Sunday at 3.
Alright, whew.